What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new episode of The 8 Below Show. Welcome everyone to 8 Below. Thanks for being here, guys, to the best gaming related show here on YouTube. And I'm super excited about our episode here today. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. Project 007, the upcoming project by none other than IO Interactive, is going to be coming out at some point in the future, guys. A brand new James Bond game, which I think so many of us are excited about, right? Playing, James Bond and a lot of those titles, even on the original, Nintendo 64, absolutely brings back massive memories. And I want to talk about everything that we know so far about Project 007. James Bond, obviously the new movie that's going to be coming out. There's just a lot of excitement around this franchise, but now with the gaming side coming back into the fray, I think there's even more anticipation and excitement around this IP. So let's talk about it. Coming to us, guys, from the official IO Interactive, website, it's Bond, James Bond. Project 007, which is the working title, is a brand new James Bond video game to be developed and published by IO Interactive. Featuring a wholly original Bond story, players will step into the shoes of the world's favorite secret agent to earn their 00 status in the very first James Bond origin story. IO Interactive is currently recruiting elite talent from around the world to join the team that will build out this exciting and unique gaming title. So, obviously a very short snippet on this, and if you haven't seen the teaser trailer, you definitely should. Obviously, guys, it's just really to build some excitement around the game. It doesn't really give you much of anything whatsoever, but the fact of the matter is James Bond is back in the gaming, universe, and that's really exciting. Now, we're probably pretty far away, guys, from an official release date. We're probably pretty far away as well from seeing this game, really in the foreseeable future, simply because they're still looking for talent to actually help build the game. So I think they're probably in the very early phases of it. We could be wrong, but it seems like they're probably pretty, it's probably pretty early on. Now, in an article, guys, written by Alex Garton of Dexerto, Project 007, some of the release date, platform, storyline, trailers, leaks, and things of that nature. So, IO Interactive, developer and publisher of the legendary Hitman franchise, is working on a new James Bond title codenamed Project 007. So, with the release date or any details yet to be revealed, let's check out the things that we do know. With the last significant James Bond game releasing in 2012, it's fair to say the IP is ready for a refresh and a brand new title to bring it back to life. Luckily for us, IO Interactive, developer of the Hitman games, has picked up the mantle and revealed they're working on a Bond game codenamed Project 007. So, IO Interactive released a teaser trailer for the title back in November of 2020. It's definitely got Bond fans extremely excited to jump into the game. So let's talk first off, guys. The big part, a talking point is the release date. When are we going to be able to play it? As the game is still within its early stages of development, IO Interactive is yet to reveal a confirmed release date for Project 007. The studio is still even actively searching for new employees for the title. No doubt the game studio will be looking to refresh the Bond IP with a polished and impressive gameplay experience for players. To achieve that, the title will need a long time in development, especially because now it will need to be made for the next generation of consoles. So, obviously, guys, since Project 007 didn't even get the teaser trailer until November of 2020, so last year, I would say we're probably not going to hear much, if anything, for Project 007 here in the remainder of 2021. I would say in 2022 we'll probably see something, but I still think that we're probably a number of years away from this title actually coming out. My biggest hope is that Project 007 is a full package. They want to have, a story, which is awesome. But I think bringing back multiplayer where we can play with our friends and having co-op modes would be huge as well. So hopefully that's something that they're planning on doing. And if that takes years, in the future for us to have to wait to actually play it as a full package, I'm willing to wait. So, the teaser trailer by IO Interactive back in November of 2020 didn't reveal much about the game. It simply confirmed that the studio was indeed developing a Bond game and successfully got fans of the studio extremely excited. So what's this game about? We don't have any details about the narrative of Project 007 at this time, as IO Interactive has remained silent since the release of the game's teaser trailer. Despite this, the studio has confirmed that the storyline of the title will be an original narrative, so don't expect the game's Bond to replicate a past actor from the films. They're saying it's a completely original story, which is really awesome. This was also confirmed again in a recent podcast episode with IGN when they spoke with IO Interactive CEO and co-owner Hakan Abrick. It's very important that we would create a digital Bond, a Bond for the gaming industry, so it's a completely original story. And that's awesome. Now, it's expected, guys, that Project 007 is going to launch on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, S, and PC. It's unlikely in 2 years' time that game developers will still be releasing titles onto the previous generation of consoles, so the game will likely not be playable on the PS4 and Xbox One. So let's hope, guys, in a couple of years that the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S are much more, available to us as consumers to purchase, because they've been pretty much sold out everywhere, and obviously those people that are able to get a PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X are really inflating the prices. So hopefully those are more readily available in a couple of years when everything moves and shifts completely from the old gen consoles to new gen. So I think, guys, that this really leaves you with a number of questions, but it also leaves us with a lot of excitement. We don't know a lot about the title. We just know that it's coming, and we got a teaser trailer that confirmed it. Is it going to be called Project 007? Probably not. It's just a working title. When is it going to come out? It's probably, guys, a number of years away. If I were to make a guess, I would say we're going to probably get the release date announcement next year, that being 2022. We'll probably see it in probably a year or two after that. So whether that's 2023, 2024, somewhere in that ballpark, depends on what this game's all going to encompass. If it's just a story, I would say maybe 2023. If it's a story, multiplayer, and co-op, I'm saying it's going to maybe be a little bit further out. And they're still trying to recruit, really great talent to the team. So that tells me that we're probably still a number of years away. But let me know, guys, what do you all think about Project 007? Are you excited about it? As excited as I am about it? I cannot wait, not only to see the new movie coming out, but I'm really excited about this game, guys. It's so exciting for the James Bond universe as a whole. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And for more Project 007 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. Evil Dead the Game was a title that was announced back in December of 2020, and I'm really excited about this title, and I want to go through it with all of you guys, some of the things that we want out of this title. A title that's coming out, guys, in February 2022 right now. I would really like to talk with all of you and hear your thoughts on everything that we want out of this title. I'm going to give you the top 5 things that I want. I would love to hear what you think in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So for me, guys, coming in at number 1, and this should come as no surprise, I want a full package out of Evil Dead. Now, what's been announced up to this point, guys, is cooperative gameplay as well as PvP combat. So those two things are great, and I'm excited about that, but I would love to see Evil Dead the game also have a story to it that maybe ties into the Evil Dead franchise in one way, shape, or form, that being like the movies or something of that nature. And so it's obviously got 2 out of the 3 things that we would love to see out of a, out of a title like this, like a full package. But not having a story, I think, would kind of hurt it in some way, shape, or form. Having co-op and multiplayer is awesome. Don't get me wrong. That's what brings you back to the title over and over again, is co-op play and PvP. But having a story really builds the legacy of this game. It builds the lore, the story moving forward. And so I'm really hoping that they have some form of story in Evil Dead the game as well. And so having a full package is definitely number 1 for me. Coming in at number 2 for me, guys, there's a lot of horror games that are coming out, lots of horror movies. The horror genre as a whole has been growing in a massive way over the last number of years. And for me, guys, I really want to see Evil Dead the game be itself. Just be yourself. Don't try to copy other titles out there like Dead by Daylight or whatever it might be, Dead Space, or all these other titles that have come out in the past that have had some form of success or another. It's fine to have little things that you take from other games, but I want Evil Dead the game to feel like its own title, that it's not just trying to rip off of other games or other, titles in the horror genre. and taking things that have worked really well. It's okay, like I said, to take little things, but don't copy and paste a lot of the same similar things that we've already seen a ton of times in previous, games out there in the horror genre. I really want Evil Dead to have a number of, elements to it that make it feel like its own title, that doesn't seem like it's trying to copy everybody else. So that's number 2 for me. At number 3, guys, kind of alluded to it here with number 2, but I'd love to see some free-to-play elements. I would love to see Evil Dead the game take this approach where maybe the story mode, if they have some form of story mode, is free to play for everyone, or the multiplayer is free to play, or co-op is free to play. One of these elements I would love to see as free to play. And the reason for this, guys, is it's going to put so much more exposure on Evil Dead the game, whereas people will at least give it a try if there's a free-to-play element to it, and that may lure people into actually buying and purchasing the full game itself. I'm not really anticipating that Evil Dead the game is going to have free-to-play elements, but it's definitely something I want to see. I'd love to see the multiplayer free-to-play, because that's going to bring people back over and over again. It also justifies microtransactions in a title if it's free-to-play. Think of Fortnite and Warzone and all the other titles that are free to play, or at least have free to play elements to it. It really justifies, they can make money in other ways because the game is free. And so that's what I would love to see out of Evil Dead the game. The whole game doesn't have to be free, but have some elements, even if it's just one, make it free to play so lots of people will at least give it a try. Coming in for me, guys, at number 4, I think it's really important that, Evil Dead as a franchise is pretty big. This is an exciting franchise. Lots of people know of Evil Dead. I think it's really important here that Evil Dead, the game, somehow or another makes connections to the Evil Dead franchise in some capacity or another. And I talked about this a little bit earlier, but I think it's really important. Having it, and this really brings me to the story mode, why I feel so important about this game, to have a story mode, or at least in some form or another, because Evil Dead as a franchise, a lot of us know the Evil Dead franchise. Having the game now coming out really needs to make connections to the actual franchise as a whole. Not just maybe the characters and some of the weapons and the zombies and things of that nature, but having the story somehow connect with the movies and the franchise as a whole would be absolutely huge. So that for me is number 4. Coming in at number 5 for me, guys, is updates. Always having updates when it comes to this title, I think, is going to be really important. Really, any title out there, it's really important. But what we see happen a lot with games that come out, even if there's free-to-play elements, even if, the game underlying is really great, we find a lot of times developers are slow to reacting when it comes to if there's bugs or glitches and things of that nature that really hurts the experience. And so I think Evil Dead the game is going to need, and the developers with, Saber Interactive and, of course, Boss Team Games need to be really on top of it when this title comes out, that if there's any problems throughout the course of time, which there will always be glitches and bugs and such, but as long as they're on top of it, it's not going to hurt the experience as much just because they'll be on top of it, right? So if there's problems and then, of course, the community reacts to it, they can be on top of that, especially when we're talking about PvP and we're talking about co-op modes. There's a lot of opportunity for errors that come out when the full game releases. So I just want to see them have consistent updates throughout the course of the process. I think that's something that's very, very important with a title like Evil Dead the game, because obviously there's going to be a lot of anticipation and excitement for this title. There's going to be a lot of comparisons to like Dead by Daylight, Left 4 Dead, Back 4 Blood and such. So if they're not on top of it, that being Saber Interactive and Boss Team Games, a lot of those people that are playing Evil Dead the game may, if it hurts their experience enough, they might move on to other games. So consistent updates are going to be very, very important in the future for Evil Dead the game. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What are the things that you want to see out of Evil Dead the game? Are you excited about this title? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Evil Dead the game content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. Dead by Daylight is a title, guys, that many of us absolutely love, and obviously the developers have stated that Doesn't sound like they're going to be making a Dead by Daylight 2 anytime soon. They want to consistently update the first game. But with that being said, you can never say never. There's always the possibility that you could get a sequel. Think of Dead Space, guys. We thought that Dead Space, there was a good chance that it was going to be dead forever and that it was never going to come back, that being like a Dead Space 4 or a reboot. And lo and behold, lots of rumors, anticipation of a new Dead Space title coming out. So you can never say never to anything. And with that being said, I want to talk about Dead by Daylight 2. Everything that we want out of a possible sequel to the very famous Dead by Daylight. And I want to get your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. What are the things that you want to see in Dead by Daylight 2? So let's get into it. So guys, I've got the 5 things that I would really like to see out of a sequel to the 2016 Dead by Daylight. So let's go with number 1, guys, for me. And this goes really without question. I think Dead by Daylight is a fantastic multiplayer survival horror experience, but I would love to see a story, a campaign, even just, you know, like little mini stories that you could play and it could kind of fill out somewhat of a story would be absolutely incredible in Dead by Daylight 2. Being able to kind of play different short stories or a full-blown campaign would be awesome outside of having co-op and multiplayer modes. I think campaign would really build a lot of the legacy, the story of Dead by Daylight and really what they're trying to do moving forward would be absolutely incredible. At number 2 for me, I think one of the things that's, in my opinion, hurt, you know, Dead by Daylight, it's hurt a lot of other games that are multiplayer only modes, kind of like Fortnite and some of these other titles out there, is a lack of game modes. I think that Dead by Daylight does a really great job of the 1 versus 4 type of scenario, but I think they need to continue expanding upon what they do really good. Consistently trying new game modes, adding more to Dead by Daylight 2 would be absolutely awesome. Whether we're talking multiplayer, co-op, whatever the case might be, I think adding new modes would really make the experience even more exciting. When you get sick and tired of playing the 1 versus 4 online multiplayer, you can play other modes that are out there. And I think that is something that Dead by Daylight hasn't done a really great job of. And I think that in Dead by Daylight 2, I would love to see just more game modes added into that title. At number 3 for me, guys, this is absolutely huge, and it would be a big leap of faith for Dead by Daylight and for, of course, Behavior Interactive moving into the second title, making it free to play, or at least some form or another having free to play elements to it would be absolutely huge, I think, for this title. And the reason is, guys, we see so many other titles out there like Fortnite and Warzone and all these different titles, Valorant, that are free to play, and we see how popular they are. Dead by Daylight is very popular, even though you have to pay to play it, but I think having elements of the second game free to play, whether you're talking the campaign, whether you're talking multiplayer, whatever the case might be, having free to play would be huge because so many people would at least try it out and see what they think of it. New people coming in, people who've been playing the original Dead by Daylight would certainly be playing it like crazy, most likely. Having that second game, having free-to-play elements would be huge, I think. It could easily become one of the biggest titles, obviously, in horror, which it is right now, but it would probably take the top spot as the biggest title in horror without any question. So with that being said, at number 4, something that Dead by Daylight has done so well, guys, in the past is really having, you know, characters from other franchises inside of it, like lots of different characters from, you know, Texas Chainsaw Massacre to Saw to, you know, Evil Dead, Scream, all these different titles, right? And they've done such a good job at marketing that and bringing in new characters. What I would love to see, though, is Dead by Daylight take that kind of approach and create a horror universe around it. So whether you're talking short stories, whether you're talking whatever the case might be, and I don't know from a legal perspective what they would be able to do as far as using these characters in a way where they're shaping stories, making Dead by Daylight and all these other titles somehow or another in the same universe would be absolutely awesome. And I think in a story way, that would be so cool to see Texas Chainsaw Massacre as well as Dead by Daylight and Saw all in the same universe. And some way or another, if you do it well, and Dead by Daylight's done a great job of what they've done up to this point, I think they could really take it to another level. And who knows, guys, that could lead us into a horror universe in the movie world as well, where we see movies like Godzilla versus Kong, these monsters in the same universe. Could we see it in the horror universe? And could Dead by Daylight take the charge in that? I think that would be so brilliant. And coming in, guys, at number 5 for me, kind of piggybacking off of number 4 with this horror universe idea, I would love to see Dead by Daylight start to kind of take a page out of Dead Space's book. Dead Space did a really good job of, taking the concept of Dead Space, creating movies, creating, comic books, things of that nature. Dead by Daylight, I think, could take it to another level. Having, comic books, creating, animated movies out of it, creating more lore, more story to this universe. I think the sky's the limit with this title, because obviously they have good partnerships with, a lot of these other titles that are out there in the horror universe. Like we said, Saw and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Stranger Things, Evil Dead, Halloween, Left 4 Dead. I think it's really important that they take that and run with it in a way where you're creating more comic books, you're creating, movies, animated movies, like what Dead Space did, creating all these different ways that we can connect with the Dead by Daylight universe would be huge, I think, for us as a fan base. And I think for the title, it just would continue growing getting everyone talking about where this franchise is heading. A lot of, mystery probably around it as well, breaking it down. I think it would be absolutely awesome to see them take that approach where let's make this a massive universe that the fan base can really take in. But those are the 5 things, guys, I really want to see out of Dead by Daylight 2 if we ever get that title, and I'm hoping we do at some point in the future. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What do you guys want to see out of Dead by Daylight 2? And for more Dead by Daylight 2 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. For those of you who are familiar with my YouTube channel, you know that Gears of War is one of my favorite franchises of all time. I mean, when we talk about the big 3, my big 3 in gaming is StarCraft, Gears, and Call of Duty. Gears of War, guys, I grew up with this game, right? It was the very first game I ever owned on the Xbox 360. It came with my Xbox 360, and the rest is history. And that being said, Gears of War has a very close place in my heart, and I'm very excited about the future of this franchise moving forward. Gears 6 and Gears 7 both being confirmed by Rod Ferguson, who was the studio head at the Coalition before leaving to go to Blizzard to work on none other than the new Diablo title. And so that being said, I want to talk about everything that we know at this point in time about Gears 6, guys. And if you guys love Gears of War and Gears 6 content, check out all my content I've put up on the YouTube channel. We have a lot of it here. So with that being said, let's get into it. Gears 6, guys, and everything that we know. This is an article written by James Carr of Looper. When will we get a sequel, that being in regard to Gears 6? It's been almost 2 years since Microsoft and the Coalition released Gears 5, the most ambitious and different game in the series. Gears 5 moved away from the Phoenix family storyline to put Kate Diaz front and center in the middle chapter of the second Gears of War trilogy. The Coalition has been hard at work since launch, updating the game with new map skins and modes. Most recently, it released the Hivebusters DLC, a standalone campaign. While Gears 5 set up a sequel with its ending, Microsoft has not announced one yet. Now, there has been some recent updates, guys, as far as Gears 6 and where we are. Most likely it's probably in development, but it's not coming anytime soon. While the Coalition has not announced what it is currently working on, it did recently put up a blog post discussing the future of the studio. In the post, it was revealed that the company would be transitioning to the Unreal Engine 5 for future projects, which might delay some games slightly as the studio transitions. The blog post also mentions that the studio has multiple projects in the works, all of which will utilize the latest version of the Unreal Engine, the new Unreal Engine. So, GameBeat reporter Jeff Grubb said in a video that the Coalition has been very busy. According to him, the developer has been assisting 343 Industries with Halo Infinite development in addition to working on the next Gears game. Grubb also said that the studio has a third project in the works, and he is unsure if that third project will be released before or after the next Gears title. Based on the series' previous release schedule, the earliest a new Gears title would release is late 2022, but without an announcement from Microsoft or the Coalition, it could be be much further out. So let's talk about this. Obviously, we know Gear 6, they're working on Gear 6. There's been a number of leaks on it. They are working on a new Gears title, guys, but they're also working on, it seems, they're helping out with the Perfect Dark reboot. They're also obviously helping out with Halo Infinite. So that all being said, the Coalition has their hands full. They're working on a lot of different projects right now. So do I think that Gear 6 will come out in 2022? Maybe, maybe not. It's hard to say. With them working on the new Unreal Engine, there's a possibility that it could get prolonged further, but we'll have to kind of wait and see. In an article written by Samuel Tolbert of Tech Radar, Gear 6 is locked and loaded for upgrades. It may be a while before Gear 6 is announced, much less released for Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S and PC. The developers at the Coalition released a blog post stating that the team is working on upgrading from Unreal Engine 4 to Unreal Engine 5 in order to better work on multiple new projects. Shifting to a new engine is a big undertaking, so we want to be clear that we will not be announcing any new projects or titles for some time, the team says. Support for Gears 5 will continue through 2021 with Operation 7 and Operation 8, each of which brings new characters, new maps, and more. The team closes the blog post by saying, "We're eager to get to work and show you what we're working on when the time is right." So a lot of people in the Gears community are concerned that Gears 6 isn't happening now. Like, the Coalition's still working on, other things, and they're kind of putting Gears on the back burner. Gears of War, guys, is a flagship title. Now, sure, it's not quite as big as some of these other titles out there like Halo or, even for Xbox. But Gears of War is, make no mistake about it, is a massive franchise for Microsoft. They are absolutely working on it, but I just think that the timeline may have shifted, not so much because they're working on other projects, but because of switching over engines. That is, like they said, a big undertaking. So are we looking at 2022 or further? I would say, guys, that we may very well not hear anything about Gear 6 this year, which I was expecting we would, but with this change in Unreal Engine from 4 to 5, I think there's a good chance, though, that we'll hear more about Gear 6 next year. So in 2022, we'll probably hear a lot more, as well as a release date, and I would expect it to come out in 2023. But that's obviously, guys, looking from an outsider's perspective, looking in, kind of it's hard to say what all they're working on. If I had to guess, they're helping out with Halo Infinite, because that's going to be launching that's going to be launching here shortly. And then you've got obviously Gear 6, which is a pretty big title, and even the Perfect Dark reboot they're helping out with. I think Gears of War is the main title that they're working on, but they're helping out with other projects, which is probably going to delay the process because it's not all hands on deck with Gear 6. But let me know, guys, what do you all think? Where do you think we are as far as Gear 6 is concerned? I'm so excited about this project, and I want them to take their time. We know that Gears of War's had a shaky history. When they launch a title, a lot of times there's problems, right, at launch, and it takes them a while to kind of get it right. I really want them to take their time, make sure Gear 6 is fully polished, ready to go. I'm so excited about it, though, to say the least. What do you guys think, though, about Gear 6 and these updates that we've been getting about it? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Gear 6 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. The hype is building for EA Play, guys, of 2021. For me, I mean, obviously I'm excited to see all the games that are going to get announced and things of that nature, what's getting updated. But the one that's really standing out to me, of course, being a massive horror fan, one of my favorite horror games of all time, Dead Space is apparently going to be getting a revival. And this is absolutely huge, guys. For us horror fans, those of you who played the original Dead Space games, I mean, just an absolutely incredible experience. Lots of lore there, a lot of story, that being, none other than, of course, the comics too, the movie and everything that they've done with Dead Space. I'm so excited. If this is actually reportedly to be true, we very well could be getting an announcement at EA Play 2021. So let's talk about it, guys. This is in an article, guys, that was written by Andy Robinson of VGC. Dead Space 4 is reportedly a full remake inspired by recent Resident Evils. So, Electronic Arts' unannounced Dead Space game is reportedly a full-fledged remake inspired by Capcom's recent Resident Evil games. That's according to a new report on GamesBeat. For those of you who have been here from the start, thank you so much, guys. We started this YouTube channel back in July of 2018, and that being said, it's crazy to see like us over the years. You know, we started with StarCraft, and you know, it's just over time it's become so much more than just StarCraft. We talk about all kinds of different games in the gaming universe, and that being said, though, StarCraft will always have a place in my heart. You know, from casting professional StarCraft 2 games to now hoping and trying to echo a StarCraft 3 into existence, I want to talk about StarCraft 3 in this segment of the show. I want to talk about where we stand with this title. You know, this has been a title I've been trying to get made at some point or another, and we've up to this point, guys, we've had little to no success when it comes to really trying to reach Activision Blizzard about getting a new StarCraft title made. Matter of fact, they've been, kind of greenlighting a number of StarCraft projects, then they cancel them, at some point or another later on. So where do we stand with StarCraft 3, and will we ever see a sequel? Let's talk about it. With that being said, guys, this article was written by Aaron Greenbaum of Looper. Blizzard Entertainment started with small titles like The Lost Vikings, Rock and Roll Racing, and Blackthorn. The company didn't truly find its niche in the video game industry until Warcraft: Orcs and Humans, which were originally envisioned as a licensed Warhammer game. Fast forward about 4 years and Blizzard launched StarCraft, a game similar to Warcraft yet oh so different. StarCraft became one of the leading RTS titles on the market, even surpassing its older Warcraft brother until StarCraft 2 arrived. So StarCraft 2 was a critically acclaimed success that drove the StarCraft franchise forward, and Blizzard released 2 follow-up expansions, each as highly praised as the last. However, all good things must come to an end. Blizzard halted further StarCraft 2 development and moved on to other titles like Overwatch and Hearthstone. But the company is following up Diablo 3 with the much anticipated Diablo 4 and Diablo Immortal, so one must wonder if Blizzard will ever return to the StarCraft universe. So here's the deal, guys. I think that StarCraft, needs to continue evolving, right? I mean, I've stated this a lot of times. You guys can check out all my StarCraft 3 content on the YouTube channel. I've stated many times that RTS is awesome, and StarCraft needs to, that's its niche, right, is the real-time strategy genre. Stick with that, but I think it also needs to expand into other realms, that being like a first-person shooter, which was greenlit, then canceled later on, and then another one was a first-person shooter that was greenlit and then canceled as well. So I'd love to see them expand this universe, the lore, story, all of that in StarCraft outside of just RTS, but you got to stick with RTS. That's where it started, where it needs to continue. Expanded, that's fine, but RTS is very, very important, I think, for the gaming, just universe. When Blizzard released the original StarCraft, it was a one-company act. It made its own decisions regarding developing titles, but that isn't the case anymore. Activision merged with Blizzard's parent company in 2008 to form Activision Blizzard, but it's unclear how much influence Activision has over Blizzard. Regardless, Activision Blizzard is reassessing the future of its titles, and StarCraft seemingly doesn't have any part in it. So during a 2019 quarterly earnings call, Activision Blizzard stated it would expand development teams for Call of Duty, Candy Crush, Warcraft, Hearthstone, Overwatch, and Diablo. Not games such as those, just those games. That list doesn't include StarCraft, which seems to dig a grave for the series. Although Crash Bandicoot wasn't part of the list, yet Crash Bandicoot 4 was announced on June 22nd, 2020, still you shouldn't get your hopes up just because a remake of an unrelated franchise proved popular enough to warrant the development of new entry. So, unfortunately, like I said, guys, StarCraft, it's endured a lot of cancellations, guys. Blizzard has a long list of canceled games, and the StarCraft series appears to have seen more cancellations than any other Blizzard franchise, which doesn't bode well for any future StarCraft game. The most obvious canceled StarCraft product is StarCraft Ghost. The game was supposed to be a spin-off that would catapult Blizzard once again into the console market, but it was axed after entering development hell. It has remained in the collective gamer subconscious because Blizzard recycled the main character in StarCraft 2. However, Ghost isn't the only example of Blizzard sacrificing a StarCraft game. Ex-Kotaku reporter Jason Schreier uncovered a canceled StarCraft first-person shooter. Anonymous sources said it was like Battlefield in the StarCraft universe and described a prototype where players stepped into the power armor of a Terran Marine and took out Zerg. They also described their surprise when Blizzard pulled the plug on the project, which I am as well. Now, here's the deal. I feel like a first-person shooter, that's Activision. It's got Activision written all over it, right? First-person shooter. I mean, we think of all these titles like Call of Duty. I mean, Overwatch, which Blizzard's working on a sequel with Overwatch 2. A first-person shooter makes sense because that's what a lot of people love, but RTS still has a massive fan base there, and I feel that StarCraft is, really one of the top, if not the top RTS games of our time, so why not continue that in the future? Well, StarCraft's future might depend on the fans, and I state this all the time, guys. We have to be the ones echoing these games into existence. We see Dead Space, that game's it could very well be coming back, right, from the grave. And that's a lot of you guys, voicing your opinion to EA, saying, hey, let's get a Dead Space made. This is a great franchise. Let's continue it. StarCraft could see that same exact thing happen. We just got to voice our opinion and say, hey, we want there to be another game. A video game is nothing without an audience, and companies publish titles gamers want. After all, audiences demanded more Crash Bandicoot, and Activision, of course, did it. Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy started a Crash craze that eventually resulted in Crash Team Racing, Nitro Fueled, and Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time. The same could happen with StarCraft. During BlizzCon 2019, PC Gamer reporter Tyler Wilde spoke with StarCraft 2's production director Tim Morton. He asked Morton if the company was developing StarCraft 3. While Morton didn't provide a definitive answer, he gladly implied that Activision Blizzard might listen to fan feedback. Morton stated, the best way for us to figure out our future is to hear from players, and that they should inform Blizzard on the demand for StarCraft 3. It by no means guarantees the game will be developed, just increases its odds. And I 100% agree with that. Now, this is what I've stated about the StarCraft community. I've been critical of the StarCraft community for a while now. That the StarCraft community is too complacent with StarCraft 2. The StarCraft community doesn't want to move on. They don't want there to be a StarCraft 3 because they're worried that it's not going to be as good as the second. And the way I see it is, why not have a StarCraft 3? It continues the legacy, continues the lore of StarCraft, and if you don't like StarCraft 3, you can always go back to that second nostalgic game or the first StarCraft. You can go back to those. But a StarCraft 3 moves us forward. Staying with StarCraft 2, very well, there's a possibility that the esports scene could die. All of those things could die at some point or another because RTS is, slowly but surely kind of dwindling into an abyss almost. Whereas a StarCraft 3 would revitalize the RTS genre. And these are my opinions, guys, but I've been very critical of the StarCraft community because I feel like there's a complacency there when there needs to be us coming together as a fan base to echo StarCraft 3 into existence. And I think the only way that that's going to happen, guys, is, by us on social media. Talking about it at conventions and all of those different things, voicing our opinion to the developers, that being Activision Blizzard. Get a StarCraft 3 made, because there could be, the worst that can happen is that we don't like it as much as the first two and we go back to the first two. But this, I believe, will move us forward, whereas right now it feels like we're almost on borrowed time. There's a time that StarCraft 2 might not be relevant anymore, and that's really sad for me to say. I just want us to continue moving forward with the legacy, the lore. I feel like StarCraft is like Star Wars. It's like an infinite amount of opportunity, multiple worlds and all different things that you can do, and adding new races and doing all of that could create so much opportunity for StarCraft and the future of it, making it go from 1v1s, which is, the esports scene. A 1v1 is what it's meant for, the tennis of esports, but creating it into team, where it's like team versus team, and having that as a focal point as well for the esports scene. Don't go away from 1v1 totally, but having team versus team as well, kind of like League of Legends and such. That's where there's a lot of popularity and such. I want to see us move StarCraft forward. So let's echo it into existence, guys. What do you say? Let me know in the comment section down below. StarCraft 3, where do you think it's going? Do you think it's going to happen? How's it going to happen? Let me know. And for more StarCraft 3 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the 8 Below Show. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.